Today we're going to go into a little more detail about the Enfield No.4 Mk.1 sniper rifle. We'll start by looking at the rifle itself and the process of conversion to sniper. Along the way, I'll also try and provide some basic information around identifying a genuine rifle for those of you interested in buying one. I should say at this point that this is not intended to be a comprehensive study of the No.4T. The scope of the video is to provide a short introduction to the rifle. The No.4T was the main sniper rifle used in World War II by the British and Canadian forces. Introduced in early 1942, the T was essentially a modified No.4 Mk.1 rifle, accurized and adapted specifically for use as a sniper weapon. Out of several million No.4 Mk.1 rifles made, just over 23,000 were converted to sniper. Relatively rare in its day, in comparison to other No.4s, these rifles are now quite scarce. A No.4 in good condition, with a good bore and a complete equipment schedule with matching serial numbers can command premium rates. Most designated sniper weapons in World War II were adapted in some way, not least of all by usually adding an optic or some other method of sighting. But few combatants went to the measures seen in the conversion process of the No.4T. This process led to it becoming widely accepted as one of the most robust, reliable and accurate sniper rifles of the Second World War. Each standard No.4 was subject to strict quality inspections at the factory of manufacture. Those found most accurate were stamped TR for telescopic rifle and designated for conversion to sniper. These rifles were put on one side, crated and sent to Holland and Holland Master Gunsmiths of London for conversion. Due to the very low clearance of the scope, the rear peep sight was milled off. Despite this adaptation, when the scope was not in use, the ladder sight could still be flipped up and used in the conventional way. Due to the positioning of the scope, it was impossible to use stripper clips to load the rifle in the normal manner. When used for sniping, individual cartridges had to be hand-loaded, although the scope could be removed quickly via the prominent screws and pads which fixed it to the receiver. The scope could then be reattached with virtually no loss of zero. Here is the tin that the scope was actually kept in, although it's very heavy and I can't imagine it saw much use in action. A canvas pouch, probably a more practical item, was also issued. Another adaptation carried out by Holland and Holland was the installation of a sling swivel just forward of the magazine to be used with the leather sling the rifle would be fitted with. Each rifle was stripped down to its component parts, marked up, accurized, bedded in and reassembled for optimum accuracy. Installation of the optic involved the front and rear pads being sweated on and screwed to the receiver in order to accommodate the scope mount, with the final machining of the pads being done once they were fitted to ensure they were as accurate and as level as possible. The No.32 scope, seen here in its carry tin, would then be very carefully zeroed and twinned with the rifle with which it would then stay. The scope serial number was stamped into the upper flat part of the butt. Above it, to the left, you can see the Holland and Holland D6 inspection code. One of the final phases of the conversion process involved the fitting of the wooden cheek piece. This was usually firmly secured in place with two long brass screws. Another prominent stamp on No.4Ts is Holland and Holland's wartime code, S51, usually found on the bottom of the stock. The T stamp, denoting telescopic rifle, was struck into the left side of the action wall. This stamp is often very deep and differs from the original factory markings. Here's another picture of the T stamp. You can see in this photograph just how prominent the stamp is and how deeply struck, and also just how unique the font is. With the conversion process finally complete, these rifles left the hands of Holland and Holland, went to the army and were shipped to wherever they were needed. Today, the No.4T has become something of a grail rifle for collectors. Its desirability, along with its comparative rarity, mean that there are many fakes, clones and reproductions out there. For a collector looking to buy a T, there are many considerations to take into account. Most desirable is a rifle with its matching scope, but these in themselves command high premiums. Perhaps more common are mismatched rifle and scope rigs, with both items being original but not as twinned at Holland and Holland. The No.4T remained in service from 1942 to far beyond the end of the Second World War. Even when it became obsolete, it was rechambered in 7.62 and many were converted to L42A1 sniper rifles. The L42A1 is a subject for another day, but suffice to say, by the time it was replaced by the Accuracy International rifle in the 80s, the L42, latterly the No.4T, had enjoyed an effective service life of over 40 years, a phenomenal achievement given the technological advancements of the era. Thanks for taking the time to watch this video. If you have any requests for further 303 videos, please let me know and leave any comments below.